Attention Christmas shopping procrastinators, head on over to deaditesondeck.com for the most unique horror and custom t-shirts, mouse pads, blended teas, candles, tote bags, and much more. And starting now until December 14th, save 10% off of your entire order with the promo code Merry Christmas.
Howdy, gang, and welcome to yet another watch along. This one was also chosen by my buddy Mentallect and channel supporter. And he threw his hat in the ring to get to pick a few watch alongs the past few weeks. And the way you can do that is when I'm doing a live stream, including this watch along, because it is a live stream, you can give a $5 super chat or more, and you can throw your hat in the ring to pick one of the next watch alongs I do. Now, I was feeling okay earlier. Now I'm feeling kind of fuzzy headed and stuff, and I think it's related to some sinus trouble that I was having. So hopefully that won't keep me from having an enjoyable watch along, because I definitely wanted to do this. I'm kind of excited about watching REC or REC. This is going to be a first time watch for me. I kind of skimmed through it ahead of time, and I think I remember watching at least part of it, maybe the very beginning. But other than that, this is going to be a fresh pair of eyes watching this tonight. So there may be some of the rest of you that this is a first time watch. Now just be aware that people that have seen it before could put spoilers in the chat if people are actively chatting tonight. So just a little word of warning there, okay? I also put that warning when it's something that I've seen many times, and I may let slip a spoiler or something like that. And I definitely don't want to ruin a movie for anybody. Okay. Yes, I laid down and took a little cat nap, and I thought that would make me feel better. And unfortunately, I think it made me feel more sluggish. But this is not a very long movie. It's about an hour and 18 minutes long. I'm going to be watching it on Tubi. If you don't own a copy of it, you can watch it on Tubi as well. I did not get the commercial-free version of Tubi up on my tablet because I'm lazy like that. So, if all of us that are watching along tonight are watching it on Tubi, more than likely we're going to have commercials, okay? But we're going to get through this watch along. We're going to have a good time tonight. So I wanted to let you know that also about the discount that I've got going on deaditesondeck.com from now until December 14th. You can take 10% off your order of any amount. And that could, depending on how much you spend, could add up to a nice chunk of change for you that you're saving. Okay. I also premiered a new show a little bit earlier, around 4 p.m. Eastern Time today, called New Attitude. And I talked about how to have a successful online presence with your new online shop, which you can also apply this to brick and mortar shops. You can apply this to some of these same principles to your YouTube channel, right? Okay. So, I'd like to point out my new little lower thirds logos and banners and stuff like that. I have the little Evil Dead chick logo that is beside my name, and I also have, excuse me, the Deadites on Deck logo that Steve helped me make as well. And I also want to remind you, I'm giving y'all an early Christmas gift. I usually have watch alongs every other weekend, but this coming weekend, I will be doing some watch alongs of my choosing. So, Black Christmas, the classic Black Christmas from the 70s, directed by Bob Clark. And that will be this coming Saturday, December 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday's watch along will be for Don't Open Till Christmas, directed by and starring Edmund Purtle. That will be starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, December 15th. And then I believe it's December 28th. Steve and I will be doing a watch along for Roadhouse, the original Roadhouse starring Patrick Swayze. We're going to be having a lot of fun, going to be having some adult beverages and all that good stuff. So be sure to join me and Steve for that, as well as other hopefully cool programming choices coming up for December and also for January and beyond. Okay. So I have Rec showing up on here on Tubi on my tablet, so I don't have to go back and forth on here and get behind in the movie any more than is needed. Okay. And I have it queued up to the Film Max logo about a second in on Tubi. Now, if you have your own copy of this, I'll give y'all about a minute or two to get whatever copy you're using queued up. And then we'll go ahead and get started here in just a second or a minute or so. And yeah, and if there's not a lot of chatter going on in the chat, or any chatter going on in the chat, I probably won't stay on much longer after the movie is over. But I try to be as good as my word. Mentallect did give a $5 super chat, and he got his choice for last night's pick of a watch along, which I enjoyed, for It Follows, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one for REC as well. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started, folks. And I hope you enjoy this watch along for REC. So we're going to go ahead and do the countdown and go ahead and get started. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Press play. I think I was a little delayed in pressing this. I'm trying to press that on my tablet, and I didn't do a good job of that. So we have this young woman talking. She's the lead of this film, and they seem to be I'm guessing like a news outlet, and they're doing a special on people that, I guess pull all-nighters on their jobs, and these are firefighters. They're going to be interviewing and eventually going on a run with. And this show is called While You're Asleep, or segment is called While You're Asleep. And then once again, this is a Spanish film. So unless you speak fluent Spanish, gonna have to have your subtitles turned on. And if you're watching this on Tubi, you can definitely watch subtitles. Watch it with subtitles. I always thought, this is kind of uncomfortable. They're the fireman's waiting for her to come back. And she's talking to her camera crew and saying, if this turns out to be a pain in the ass, just cut off the camera. And it's like, why would you do that right there? So she is trying the helmet on. She's putting the fireman clothes on. I think she's a little bit of a shit, really, because she's talking about, you guys are all big, right? Um, like in the cartoons and all that. She just keeps talking. I don't know. She's just a little sarcastic. And I'm not saying that what happens later she deserves that, but it's just like she seems a little full of herself here. And I think we've all seen, newscasters and people that do segments for news outlets that are like this. They're not all like this, but and we see that they're going to the dining room where the firefighters are having their dinner. These guys kind of act like they ain't seen a woman in a while. Maybe they haven't. And the way she says turn around and did it, it's kind of like, it's like, can you be a little nicer? I mean, granted, I am, reading the subtitles on here. And because this is a Spanish film and it's in a Spanish language, that maybe I'm not getting the inflections that I should be getting. He says around 70% of the calls they get are for other reasons other than fires, like broken water mains and pet rescue. And I do know that at least here in Louisville, that the firemen do show up initially when the paramedics go out on a call. Because me being diabetic a few years back, I experienced a severe low blood sugar, and according to my neighbor, who is also female, uh, she said that I missed some hot firefighters because I was out of it. But they just come to make sure everything is okay, that the paramedics got everything under control, and then they usually leave. you can clearly tell that she is not happy to be doing this. And she acted like she wanted to talk to the women that were there. She was like, finally, there's some women. And then one of them acted like they were embarrassed and didn't want to be filmed. Now, there's the fireman's pole. Now we see she's just playing basketball with some of the firemen. And, I hate to be so critical of this main girl because this is the girl that we're supposed to stick with the entire movie. And she just seems a little too ecstatic to be playing basketball with these firemen and having them, be touching on her and stuff like that, as the, however innocently it might be. So they just got a call about a disturbance in an apartment building, and they're trying to figure out how best to get out there. And now I'm having a commercial. So I don't know, for those of you that are watching along, if you've reached a commercial yet. But this is for JCPS here in Louisville. Now I've got a drive time commercial, I guess, about getting credit to get a vehicle. Now we're having another commercial. Usually, hopefully these ads go. This is for NFL Premium. I don't know what kind of ads you guys might be seeing. Now we're back to the movie, and they're getting ready to go on this call, and evidently the news team is going to go with them. So she's explaining, that they're going with them on this run, and saying it's not always fires that gets them moving. And she's saying, don't you use the siren? And the fireman is telling her, we usually don't do that unless it's urgent. And at this point, they don't think it's an urgent call. And she tells her cameraman, we're going to have to do another take because I said alarm and not siren. So they have reached the site of the apartment building where evidently this distress call has come from. And they're taking tools with them. She's like, what tools are you taking? They said, stuff in case we have to unlock doors and things. So now they're saying, well, it could be more serious than we initially thought. So there's people that look pretty panicked standing around. They said a woman was screaming. Um, yeah, Russell, I would call this a found footage film. Now, I know you're not a big fan of found footage, but perhaps you might like this one. So I guess this guy is security for the apartment building. So this guy is saying, this news team that's came with y'all, that they're your responsibility. I take no responsibility for them. And so he's telling them that it seems that the an old lady has fell. You don't mind the subtitles? You're used to them, Russell? Okay, good deal. Now, I will tell you guys and gals, if it seems that I pause in my talking and seem to have gotten caught up in the film, it's more than likely because I have not seen this film before. So this is kind of like going in here blind on this one. So they heard some screams from this older lady's apartment, and that's why the fireman got called. So, okay, so these other guys are police, and they're none too happy that the firemen are there and that the firemen have people from a news outlet with them. So we're seeing a woman down a shadowy hall. We can't really make out a lot about her. It looks like she may have blood on her. She's, moving her hands around. She's acting very erratic, and they're still coming towards her. And so they're saying, turn off the lights from the camera, and they tell them to quit taping, but we clearly they're still, you know, recording. Now this woman, like for an older woman, she's jumping around and seeming like she's trying to attack the police. And so she's attacked this policeman. They're the firemen and the other cops are trying to pull her off, and she's biting him. And so it's complete chaos now. I mean, it looks like she's trying to rip his throat out, clearly here. So she's telling Pablo, I think that's her cameraman, film everything. I want. She's like, tape fucking everything. So it's still, as with many of these found footage films, whoever the head person is, where it's a man or a woman, was everything filmed at all costs. They want everything filmed. It's all about whatever they're filming. So they're not letting the other residents or, you know, the firemen or the police or anybody out of this apartment. It's almost like they've got them quarantined. Now there's a lot of movement going on here and a lot of the camera moving around and shaking. Now I will warn people, sometimes people get motion sickness when this happens. So if you start feeling that motion sickness, you might want to get up and walk away because we don't want anybody getting sick, right? Especially if you happen to be watching this on a big screen TV or something. So the health authorities have decided to seal off everything. And they assure them, we're going to get you out as soon as we can. So they're clearly wanting out. We see the head girl or the main girl, they're all like, we want out of here. Some woman just attacked this cop and ripped his throat out, basically. One guy's saying, we got to get him out of here. He's bleeding to death. So she's fighting this cop, saying, we got to let everybody know what's going on here. But I feel like, like I said, like most of these found footage movies, it's all about the content. If we get out of here, this content's going to be gold, right? So this woman says her husband is outside and he's saying, the cops have blocked off the street. And then all of a sudden, one of the firemen obviously is dead now. He, like, or is in the process of dying. It looks like he fell or was thrown. So now they're going to go upstairs to see what happened. He's like, you stop fucking recording. So, um, we're unfortunately or I'm in another commercial. Sometimes these commercials are shorter than other times too. And she's like, I don't care what they say. We got to take this. We've got to show them what's happening. So now we see that the camera is back on. And they're very slowly heading upstairs because that fireman Alex got thrown down from these steps or from one of the upper floors. Thrown or pushed or whatever. You're back up there where they saw the a woman that we're not seeing her right now. So Pablo, the cameraman, is going ahead, and she's telling him, don't go there, come back. He's not listening. So we see another woman. This appears to be a younger woman who it appears she's been bit, and they're saying she's dead. Now there's the older woman again. She's running towards them, and they've evidently shot at her, but we don't know what's wrong with this woman. We don't know if she's sick, you know. And I had heard that this movie kind of promotes itself as a demon possession movie, but during most of it, it appears that it's a virus or something that's making people who are bit by somebody with this, it gets them infected. So it's more of a, infection of a virus type of deal. And that the demon possession part doesn't come about until nearly the end of the film. And she's still going on, did you get everything? And he's like, yeah, I got everything. And I don't know why she's going ballistic, show me it, And so he's actually rewinding it back for her. We can see that to show her that he got everything. So this little girl is sick too. So, we can only think, is she got whatever this old woman had? And they're waiting for a health inspector to come. and they're talking about a BNC protocol, and she's wanting to know what that is. He says it's a procedure used in biological, nuclear, or chemical threat situations. He's trying to calm people down. And this guy says, the wounded are stable, but they're not going to be able to hang on much longer. So their cell phones aren't working, radio intelligence not working inside at least this apartment building. And the woman is saying her daughter has tonsillitis, but she's just burning up. So again, this is not a super long movie. I'm about 26 minutes in to an hour and 18-minute movie. So we have less than an hour left of the film. So they are literally, sealing these people inside here where they can't get out. I think this cop here is a little crazy. He's pointing guns at civilian people and one of the firefighters. They're being ordered not to try to leave the building. And so one of the firemen is trying to defuse the situation. He's, telling the cop, he's like, hey man, just relax. We'll all go downstairs. So evidently, the one guy is more than likely a doctor or a medical professional of some sort, because he's wanting to be allowed to go up to his apartment because he's got sutures and bandages and all that. Okay, that's kind of gruesome. We're literally seeing a needle go into this guy's wound. And the guy who appears to have medical know-how, he says he's an intern. He gives shots and things like that. So he's not a full-on doctor. So they're hoping when a doctor does get there, he'll be able to tell them what's going on. So the television crew is going around interviewing people. So they're interviewing an elderly couple here. See what they saw and heard. And the old woman is like, someone did something. That's why we're locked in here. So they're interviewing the young girl whose name's Jennifer, and she's 7. So again, she's being very rude to the girl's mother. She's saying, we'll interview you later. You're not in the shop, so don't be saying anything. So we find out she's got a dog named Max who's at the vet, and he had gotten sick. And that's the reason the little girl can't take her medicine is because they've got the father. Evidently, the father had left and went to the pharmacy or whatever to get her some medicine, and now they're not letting him back into the building. And the mother now is saying, "I'm going to sue." I'm going to call the newspapers. So they're clearly lying to this guy. He said, are you recording? And they're saying, no, no, no. Now we're recording. And this guy appears to, and this is not meant to be offensive in any way. I get the feeling that this guy is maybe homosexual. He seems, a little on the feminine side. And he was explaining that he lives alone now. He used to live with his mother. And now he says, when are we starting? He said, and they said, we've already started. And he said, why didn't you tell me? And they did. They said they were rolling. And he said, could you see my face is shiny? So I don't know if the people are just overly sensitive or what, but now I'm into another commercial again. But now I'm back in the movie. See, I say they're kind of Tubi's kind of haphazard with the commercials. Sometimes they last a few seconds. Sometimes it's more closer to a minute or so. So the cop is telling them there's a possible infection in the building and that the health inspector's coming. They're going to take some blood samples. And when they see everything's okay, they're going to let everybody out. So they're basically going to take a roll call. And they keep talking about a Colombian girl who was the one that ended up dead. And for some reason, she was in the older woman's apartment. So we find out this one couple and their child, their father lives with them, but he's sick, and so he's still upstairs. And so he's paralyzed and older, and so that's what they mean by sick. So they're starting to fight, amongst themselves. Maybe it's that one woman's father that has caused this. So clearly, the people that are getting ready to come in are like in hazmat suits. It's like, what in the world? So the health inspector is evidently in the building. And so this guy's like, what is a television crew doing here? And we see the little girl. She doesn't look well at all. Like she was touching the camera, and um, the mother's telling her not to mess with it. And the camera is evidently, I'm guessing, laying down, and it's in one of those weird positions like we have weird shots in these found footage films. You've seen this one before, Russell? This one, like I said earlier, is a first time watch for me. And I'm getting the feeling, and maybe this feeling is wrong, because like I said, um, I don't speak fluent Spanish, so even if I was, listening to the dialogue instead of just reading the subtitles, I just I don't get the feeling that this woman uh, who's heading up this show, this segment, is really interested in helping these people out. She's still trying to get a story. So we can see that they're working on uh, the two men that were very injured. So this doctor, I guess it's a doctor, they kept saying health inspector, but maybe he's a health inspector and a doctor. So they're injecting the fireman with something. And he seems to be reacting kind of violently to it. They've also got him handcuffed. And they're taking out more handcuffs, I guess, for the other man. and the other man grabbed the doctor, and the cop is trying to pull him off. And then the fireman is attacking the intern. So the doctor is saying, we can't let this Gillum guy, the intern guy, out because he's been bitten, and whatever this is, it spreads through the saliva. So they're saying the reaction time depends on the blood type. And meanwhile, one of the infected guys is cracking the glass in the door. So they're demanding this doctor tell them everything. And so he said, yesterday we received a call from a vet who had a dog brought in with an unknown disease. We would probably assume that that's Mike's. The dog went into a coma, and then he later came to and was aggressive, very aggressive, and started attacking all the pets at the clinic. And so they had to give him several tranquilizers and then put him to sleep. We followed the chip in his ear, which led them to this building. And it is indeed Mike's. So now they want to check the girl to see if it is indeed tonsillitis or something else that she has. So they think the dog spread the infection through his saliva, and now the little girl is attacking people. She just attacked her mother, and she's running upstairs. So now they're going to handcuff the mother because obviously she's been bit. And again, she's still screaming, "Get this on tape. But be careful, Pablo. We get it on tape." I dislike this main girl more and more as this movie goes on. So they went back upstairs, and the old lady is gone. The Colombian girl is gone. So what happened to them? They're trying to find the little girl. Oh gosh, there's the little girl. So I guess they're gonna try to inject her with some. Either they're gonna try to get a blood sample, or they're just gonna try to help her. I'm not sure here. Her eyes are all weird. Uh, you shouldn't have took your eyes off of her. So the cop is, he's like, go, he's taking the girl. He's saying, she bit me. Just go. Well, now there's that crazy old lady again. And I think part of I've discovered over watching several of these found footage type films is that the more chaos that's going on, the more, at least my eyes try to focus on any one thing, and it's nearly impossible. And I think that that is what creates that delirious effect for you. For the most part, it works to the effect that it needs to, because it can make a film that, and I'm not saying this is a bad film, but it could make a film that's not very good seem a lot scarier by having a lot of this chaos going on, because it's hard to focus on anything or figure out exactly what's going on. He's like, who cares about the little girl at this point? So the the guy Caesar, uh, who was just talking, he said, they'll come and get the doctor and they're like, why? But now it turns out that the doctor has been bitten as well. And he's telling them to go away. So he's locking himself in. So Caesar's saying, there might be a way out here. That there's an underground storage area in the workshop. And there's supposed to be a drain cover. I guess they would go through the sewers to get out. So basically, we've got Caesar, we've got one of the firemen, we have Angela, who's the main girl, and Pablo. Uh-oh. Well, Caesar might get taken out at this point, or at least bitten. So, Angela's saying, Manu, she's talking to the fireman, we need that storage key. So, another one of the people in the apartment building is just attacked Manu. We hadn't seen the one couple that had the little boy. I don't even know where the little boy is at. Appears that the mother of Jennifer is dead there. Well, perhaps not, or she's come back. And I believe that's the Colombian girl there. So again, we see that the camera's been laid down so that Pablo can help Manu. Uh, and again, we're getting some of these weird shots when the camera's laid down, but it's still filming. I believe Pablo was saying he got bitten, and they're telling him he didn't. And so there's the mother of the little boy, and she's infected too. So they're still looking for these keys. There are a lot of freaking keys there. So, oh my. Okay. So it appears that there's only Angela and Pablo now that are not infected. So we're kind of plunged into darkness again. So they found an apartment that was all closed up. So unfortunately, now I went to a commercial again. So, folks, I was going to try to keep the Santa hat on the whole time, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. So, not that y'all are watching me per se. You're hopefully able to watch the movie. That's why I don't like this in between weather that we're having now. Because I get a little chilly back here, and I turn on the little heater, and then I get too hot, and then I got to turn it off, and then I'll get chilled again. Still experiencing commercials here. So we're back to the movie. And this is like one of the prominent scenes that shows up on posters and stuff where she was almost like she was pleading with somebody for something. But she's in full on panic mode. We're seeing crosses all around here. This is just very weird. There's some jars and bottles and test tubes and um, pictures on the wall, news articles. Baby pictures of someone, pictures that looks like at a wedding. There's a bunch of religious memorabilia. And then there's something about possession. Possession of a Portuguese girl. But to me, this doesn't really make sense. Possession versus infection. I don't know. Tristana Medeiros. And I think Tristana is going to show up here in a little bit, but I don't know. Perhaps I just I get the feeling that I don't dislike this movie, but I get the feeling that they didn't know which angle they wanted on this. This is supposed to be some great revelation about the possession of the girl. But it doesn't make sense to me based on the other stuff that was happening. And I'm guessing maybe this was the penthouse apartment, and they said, and if you remember, they said a guy named Medeiros lived there, but he was never, I mean, he owned the apartment, but he was never there. Okay. So now they found a reel to reel tape recorder. So now they got to play, and they're hearing, about an enzyme. They've isolated it, but it might be unstable. It deteriorates when it comes in contact with oxygen. But he's optimistic. If all goes well, we'll have a vaccine soon. Um, so I don't know if the infection is supposed to be an infection of possession that spreads through bites. Now they're hearing the enzyme is not only resistant, but it's mutated. It behaves much like the flu. Um, and they come to the horrible conclusion that it must be contagious. And then the Medeiros girl must die. I must eliminate her and erase all signs of her existence. And the decision should have been made years ago. I mean, so from these scenes, I get the feeling of being inside a haunted house. In Halloween time when you go in a haunted house and things are shady and dark and you don't know what's around the corner and you're anxious, and then all of a sudden this door drops down out of the ceiling and there's attic space up there. And Pablo says he's going up there. Angela's begging him not to. And he said there might be a way out to the attic. So now it kind of seems like a role reversal. Pablo is wanting to, go ahead with this, and Angela's not wanting to. I think that might have been that little boy from earlier. So the light broke on the camera. And she's saying, "Turned on, Pablo." He says, "I can't, it's busted." But he's going to try to turn on the night vision. And we're seeing Angela, who's, I literally can't see her hand in front of her face. And this is very disorienting too, because you have limited things that you can see. Hey, Mentallect, I hope you've been able to watch along with us. But if not, you can always go back on the replay. We're in the final few minutes of the film here, folks. So we're seeing what appears to be a very skinny girl, and I believe it's supposed to be the Maderos girl. She's not clothed, but her body does not look normal. She does have underwear on, but they're trying to quietly make their escape. She didn't. Ew, that was bad. So they're running. Um, she knows they're there. She's a little upset. Excuse me. So it appears that I think something bad has happened to Pablo because the camera again is on the floor at a strange angle. Um, I think she found him. In my opinion, they probably should have focused more on the possession angle than an infection. I think it would have been a lot scarier that way. Me personally, I'm more unnerved by things of a possession level than I am just infected people. And we saw that Angela just got pulled into the darkness. And that was Rec or REC. Not a bad little movie. I saw things where it could have been improved. I have not seen the sequels. I think there may be 3 or more sequels. Mentellect maybe can correct me on that. Um, but I did enjoy. I did enjoy watching it. Um, just because I have some, questions about things does not mean that I don't like things sometimes. If I had actively disliked it, I would have told everybody. But I still would have finished it because this was a watch along that somebody paid for me to do. And I'm as good as my word. But I did not hate it. Um, Interesting little film, and I want to thank Mentallect for picking this one. Um, Probably, we've only got two people in here, it looks like. That may be Russell and Mentellect. If you didn't get to watch this live and you're interested in watching it and hearing me talk over it, um, you can definitely watch it on the replay. Um, I have no idea what I'm planning on doing in the coming week. I want to do some Christmas type of programming this coming week. We'll just have to see how things go. But again, me and Candace will hopefully be able to do the Friday Foolish that we wanted to do this past Friday, but Candace had some things going on, and we unfortunately did not get to do Friday Foolish this past Friday. So hopefully we will be able to do that this coming Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about our favorite bands, favorite musicians and bands. I've got a list of them to go over, and I'm sure that Candace does as well. We might not get to all of them. This might very well be one of those things where it's multiple parts to it, okay? Um, and I do know that I'm going to do an extra special. The film was over the top, Russell. It was like a lot of the found footage, very discombobulating and disorienting, and fast cuts, fast pace. Once the shit hit the fan, it was hard to focus on any one thing, and a lot of those films have been like that. But I am planning on doing a holiday themed, horror holiday themed watch along as a little gift to you guys and gals that visit the channel on a regular basis. What are you doing, Darcy? So the original Black Christmas is on the roster for Saturday, December 14th. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the original from the 70s, directed by Bob Clark. Sunday's watch along, Sunday, December 15th, will be for Don't Open Till Christmas, starring and directed by Edmund Purdom, at least partially directed by Edmund Purdom. This film actually had 4 different directors, I believe. Uh, so, my sinuses are still playing havoc with me, folks. So I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. But I want to thank everybody that joined me for this watch along for REC or REC. And I'm off like a dirty shirt for good tonight. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And I'm out of here for now, but I'll see everybody next time.